Hello learners. So in last video we have learned about Terraform provisioners, right? So in today's video we will be checking more about Terraform. Like we will be doing some stuff like data source. What are data source in Terraform, right? So basically what are data source? Let me show you one thing. Suppose what happened. These are EMIs. Let me show you with the example only. Right? If I check my AWS first instance script main.tf, so you will get able to find this that at the time of creating resource, I have justified this. I have used this AMI ID, right? And this AMI ID is the Ubuntu machine. It can be seen here. AMI is inside this AMI sections, right? And you can search private images. This way in public images, right? We know this is an image. This is image AMID name, right? This was created at 20230516, right? But suppose you are working in something, an environment, and this AMI, you know that we need that according to your code, you have configured that every time you need to have your updated OS version, just for the patching point of view or any security related concern. So maybe they want someone wants that your required image or required anything should be an updated one. For that case, we can use data source. Means data source is nothing but a value, a thing inside the Terraform, which help us to provide the required thing by some filtering process, right? Suppose you search Terraform data source for AWS, right? This way, you will find this thing. Use this data source to get ID of the Amazon EC2 instance for use in other resources. Means you don't need to define your instance ID, right? You don't need to define your this AMI ID every time. You just need to provide that uh, you need to just give command to the Terraform that you need to search for the latest Ubuntu image that's having this specific version or specific image ID or this virtualization or this HVM, and according to that, that image ID will be automatically picked. Means this time we won't be able, means we are not that point that we need to define that AMI or any other resource. Like, so let's start with an example only. Suppose let's take as AMI only, AWS AMI, right? So AMI resource allows the creation and management of completely custom AMI, right? So now we will be using this only, right? So let's go. So we are not doing in this. We will be creating a new directory here, make directory like AWS data source, right? And just move inside this directory AWS data source and just copy your providers, right? Because our all configuration are there only. So AWS first instance, and we need that suppose we this providers.tf only, not providers. We need to define providers, install provider again here, right? So copy is there. Let me check this. What is it inside the provider? Yeah, we have did access key and secret key, right? Okay, fine. Now what we need now, need this time, we need, we will be doing everything on this only, right? So right now we want a latest AMI image. Means I won't be defining latest image yet. If you check for the AMIs, let me show you how many AMIs are available. Ubuntu. Just search for Ubuntu. There are multiple AMIs available, right? But we want a Ubuntu latest image with have particular EBS root type, disk virtualization, this way. Means, right? So in that case, what we can do now, search for AWS AMI example usage, create an AMI that will start a machine which root, right? Okay, no, not an issue. right? So let me copy this. We will be changing this accordingly. Resource and copy, and we will be going to paste this. This is our resource, right? And inside this we have resources, right? But we want data sources. We are data sources. Let me check this. Wait a second, guys. See, they are data resources, right? Click on this. I want data resources, right? So we want to create AWS AMI this time. We can create multiple things with data resources, right? If we want Elastic IP, this type of IP, this way. So let me copy this data.aws API, and there are multiple things here. Let me remove it and paste it here, right? So AWS AMI will be the data resource type, and let's say any name would be our AMI, right? Any name would be fine, right? Executable yourself, most recent means, acha, how you will be able to find this attributes? You can check this way, scroll down, and you will find this attribute inside this attribute section this way. ARN, architecture, block mode, everything would be there, right? You can find everything would be here. Now, what does this most recent means? It will check most recent AMI, most recent updated AMI, right? You can find all the required thing here only. See, most recent, to choose most recent one, right? And if you want to have multiple AMIs, you can find this way also. AWS AMI IDs. You can search for this. There is an option, multiple AMI IDs, if you want multiple AMI IDs. But we want only single ID, right? Now, what we need to do now, I'm just removing this name regex, right? Also, if you search one thing here, argument inside this, there are arguments which needs to be provided, right? So scroll down, and okay. So we need to provide required things like name of the AMI that provided during image creation. What will be the name of AMI? Okay, so name would be, remove this, right? We don't want this. Just remove this, right? And go search this and search for Ubuntu, or you can search from here directly only. Actions, public AMI, AMIs. Let's search for AMIs only. Okay, wait a second. Right, this way. We want a latest Ubuntu image every time. Ubuntu image should be the latest. So let's take a example. Click on Ubuntu only. Just search for Ubuntu. And what we need to provide, let me show you. Right, we will be just providing the required thing like this way. We are not using this AMI ID this time, right? We will be using this virtualization, like we want that value would be that virtualization technique would be HVM. All thing parameters are already here. See, virtualization type, right? Just copy this, right? These are the filters that needs to be defined here, right? So scroll up, scroll up, scroll up. These are all filter available. And now most recent, this is a optional. If more than one result is there, right? Owner would be self. or you can use this AWS account ID. The current account would be self, right? And AWS alias with the most executable users, non it's optional, not users. Filter, we need, you can check this way, describe image CLI filters. You can check from here what are the required filters that needs, which we can get, right? So this is the filter section. Inside this filter, you can check all this required thing, right? So we want that virtualization type. Just copy this virtualization type, and we are going to change this thing. Name would be, we will change root type volume, virtualization type. It's already HVM. Root device type would be, uh, if you check any EMI here in this, we can check for the Ubuntu root volume type, right? Ubuntu private select. Let's check what are the things here. EBS is the type, right? I think, yeah, root volume device type would be EM, and name would be value my EMI. So I don't need that thing this time, right? Let me remove this, my name, and instead of name, we will be using this as, let's directly check from here. I think it's launch EMI. Okay, and we need AMIs from here. We can directly copy from here, Ubuntu, right? So just if you scroll this AMI ID, this is the AMI ID. We don't need that. Canonical description, this, right? But we want more description for this AMI ID. Okay, so wait a second, guys. Now, so let's check on AMI ID, right? So before checking it, let's check. We want that Ubuntu image only. Let's grab source here. Look, wait a second. Ubuntu, right? And if you check, this is the AMI ID. Let me copy this AMI ID this time. We are not using this AMI ID, right? We would be just checking this required thing. Let me show you what we are going to check. Public images. Let me paste this AMI ID here. Now, see, we need this image. The image name would be this thing, right? And my image name would be this. And if you check this regex, we would be using this reject, means it will take all image, but as a most recent one, right? It will take all image, but as a most recent one. Fine. And after that, also, we need this filter at root device type. Values is there. Virtualization is this. Also, there's a owner section. You can see this owner. So we also need to define this owner. You can check this from owner. Owner ID is this. It's every time owner should be this, right? Because there are multiple owners can be there. So owner would be this, right? And if you want more things, you can just grab from here, platform, root device type, block size, which according to your requirement, right? I think this would be enough for this time. And also this is not required for this, right? MID says executable based self, means it's actually not required, but not an issue, right? I think it's enough. And also after that, what we are going to do, we need to also provide the output, because we are just checking this time which EMI ID will not, because we will not be providing EMI ID. I want that EMI ID would be fetched directly by this Terraform only, latest EMI ID, right? And inside this, we would be providing value, and value would be that data dot AWS underscore AMI dot over AMI dot, and ID will be this way, ID, right? Okay, let me try to run this. Terraform plan. Acha, now it's a new folder, so we need to define Terraform in it, right? So now it's again installing HashiCorp Vault. Sorry, not Vault, HashiCorp AWS for this provider plugin for AWS, because we have provided the required thing only. Yeah, now we can run Terraform plan. We can check if everything is fine. And the required thing will be, I think, gathered here only. Reading, okay. Our query returns is a null. Please change your search criteria or try again. Okay, it's trying to. Okay, let's change the search criteria providers. Okay, over instead of our AMI, let's click on also this. Remove this. We don't divide this, and let's remove this. Let's check if this works this time. Terraform plan. Actually, we want some result here. That's why we are waiting. And that result, then in the next video, we will, yeah, it's fine. Now you can check now. Actually, the issue was that it's using that self thing. That's why self-owned. And this ID was not owned by me. That's why it's showing no result. Now, when I remove that self thing, now it's provided the EMI ID this way, right? And now this EMI ID can be used while creating your instances. So automatically when new instance, I mean new update will be there, new version would be there, automatically it will fetch that EMI ID. We don't need to every time define that this would be this EMI or this would be a, we need to do it this way, right? If you check this and search for this, and you will find, see, EMI ID with the latest version, right? This way, this data source can be used. If you check there are multiple data sources, means if you have multiple IDs, you can use this multiple IDs this way, right? Availability zone, EC2 host this way, which host is available, is which instance type is available this way. Multiple things are there. Means sometimes you need elastic IP also, so you can use this AWS elastic IP and allocate it by this and this way. You are using this way. This thing means IP should be this, tagging should be this way. Public IP range should be this way. So automatically it will provide. So this is the way you can use this data sources in your Terraform. It's a nice thing to use, as if you don't know that what will be the required things, and we are just assuming that this is a thing. So this way, right? So I think that's all this for this video. In next video, we will be just using this inside our Terraform script. Or if you don't want this, what you can do, just copy this provider setting, right? Just copy this thing as it already defined in there. Just copy this thing and use this all parameters inside this way. Let me copy this, copy. Let me show you this thing, new thing. And this inside this AWS first instance, inside this the provider, we are not using inside this provider, we are using bean.tf, right? Here only resource block is there, everything was already there. Resource, let me introduce new thing, new resource, data source also, right? And our ID is this. So instead of this AMI ID, what we can do, this value. So you can use this value inside. Let me copy this value, right? And we'll be going to paste this value inside our this AMI, right? This way. So the value would be this one, dollar, or you can directly just copy this here, AWS dot this way, right? This will automatically work. We can check it if it's working or not, right? Let me check this if it's work. Like Terraform plan. See, AMI ID is automatically takes the AMI ID B43, right? We haven't defined any AMI ID instances B43, this one. And if you check our this thing, we haven't provided any AMI ID, right? The AMI ID is going to fetch directly from data source. This way you can use the data source, right? Now you are much familiar that how the Terraform is working, right? So that's all for this video. Thank you guys. Bye-bye.